Hi, in this video we're going to work with layers. If you've watched the previous videos, then you should understand a little bit about what layers are. So let's say for example that I'm looking at an image. I'm at the coveractionpro.com website and I'm looking at this e-cover. Let's say for example that before you turn it into an e-cover or 3D e-cover, it's flat. And we're looking at this Lamborghini e-cover, and if you look at a picture, normally if you take a photograph, like let's say you take a photograph of a Lamborghini on a wooden floor, it's going to have that one layer. Now with Adobe Photoshop, it makes life easier because you can take different layers and make it look like it's one layer. So for example, this Lamborghini, it could have been taken out from another picture, and then you could have had a wooden floor as a second layer, and then you can have these texts. You could have each of these little text as different layers. So this image, just by looking at it, it could possibly have anywhere from 10 to 20 different layers. Now that's just an estimate, but what I'm saying here is that layers actually make Adobe Photoshop very fun to use, because you can take different images, as you saw earlier as I took the lasso tool, and take different pictures from different royalty-free images and put them into one image so they look like one image. And once you learn how to balance your photos and balance your images, then eventually it's going to look like it's just one layer. Let's take a look at another example here, like Day Job Killer. This e-cover here is made up of several layers. Like this Day Job is one font, as you can see, another font here, and another font here. So those could be 3 different layers, or you could even cut them up. And then you have the dollar bills floating around, and as you can see, you could take Adobe Photoshop, take a picture of, let's say, a dollar bill, and use a lasso tool to crop it out and place it here. So as you can see here, we've got many different layers that we're working on. If we're looking at this picture here, this guy is a layer, the background's a layer, the text is a layer, the subtitle is a layer, and the background blending, especially with this one, it could be a different layer. So let me go back to this example here. We have 2 photos that we removed the background and made it look white. Okay, now let's say for example that I make a new image, and I'll make it a small, not fairly too big, but not too small either. I'll press OK. And what I want to do is I want to show you how you can work with layers. Let's say for example I want to move this person into the white space. So what I could do is use the marquee tool and then highlight her by choosing select all, and then I can drag and drop by using the move tool. Drag and drop it here. As you can see that she's already shown up here, and then I am going to highlight this, as you can see here, using the magic wand tool, and I'm going to invert it because right now it's grabbing the background space. I want to grab that particular bacteria, so I'm going to do an inverse, use the move tool, and drag it and drop it over. So right now I'm working with layers. This is one layer, this is the second layer. Now as you can see, I can move it over her and I can still see her. So we're using layers here. Let's say for example I want to move this layer to the back. So if I'm looking at the layer dialog box, you can actually see how they're aligned. So it's front, a little back, and the back. But if I want to move this one to the back, I can move this down to the bottom here. So now, as you can see here, it looks a little nicer. Sort of like it's part of the picture. So now you can understand the concept of layers. You can also duplicate these layers. Let's say I want to make more bacteria. I can go to Layer, Duplicate Layer. And I could even move her over. So basically, layers allow you to take different photos and different pictures and put it all into one layer.